Hello everybody, Pupsy Animations here, and today I am starting my new park, DINOLAND. Well, not technically starting since I did build the entrance area off screen, but technically it is like starting the first land, Winterland. Now, a lot of you didn't know this, but I put out a poll that was to vote for a species to build for. What it was actually going for, like in secret, was you're choosing which land I was building first. There are four lands to this park: Winterland, Valleyland, Badland, uh, and then finally Marshland. And you guys voted for Deinonychus, which means that Winterland's getting completed first. So I'm starting this off, building a nice little plaza around a custom hotel I built. For the series, I want to try to build as many custom buildings as possible so I can get, used to the modular building controls. Then I start, building out the area. I build this little raised platform to place a viewing gallery. Now, I did use a pre-made asset for that, but, I thought, it's a pretty good hatchery. I mean, it's a pretty good, whatchamacallit, a viewing gallery, so might as well use the one that was given. So I first I'm making sure that's connected, and I then built the enclosure layout. I wanted it to have a island in the center for the Deinonychuses to go to, and I'm decorating the area around the viewing gallery, making sure it looks like it's like it's going into the terrain. Like there's the rocks there, like trying to make everything look as natural as possible. Um, so Uh, for the skins of the species, I know that's a little unrelated, but species skins, I try to keep each skin like a similar color when like I do the males and the females. Like if I have a male and it's orange, I use the other like orangish beige skins. If I have a female, it's like blue, I'll use like all the bluish skins. But for Deinonychus, I went a little like loose with the colorations, which I think wasn't really the best move, which left them feeling a little disjointed. But I really do like the yellow and pink skin for the Deinonychus. So if I was doing this again, would have used the I would have used like only the pink and yellow Deinonychus skins. Now, I'm currently setting up the island part. I want to make sure it looks nice. I have this little overhang area, which unfortunately the Deinonychuses can't pathfind on. I just want to make sure that enclosures look good first, and then dinosaurs can traverse them second. Now, I love the rock variety that they have and all the different colors. But I do wish that there was easier, like I don't know, like more different kinds of rocks, kind of like the faux rocks from Planet Zoo. Those ones are really useful. Kind of wish we had those ones in here, but beggars can't be choosers. Now, currently, I'm soon I'm gonna start like using some other rocks they had the tropical rocks for act like some shading in there. I threw a couple in there, not too many. Now I'm putting down a temporary hatchery so I can release my Deinonychi in there. Now what I'm doing is connecting up the hatchery, searching my Deinonychus. I already have the skins preset, so I released a couple. Picked the ones that had the best skins. Um, Then I got to the other Deinonychus. You see that beautiful like pinkish purple skin and the yellow skin. They're amazing. Then I start working on the cave area, which probably not the best cave I've made, but I haven't really made much cave, so technically like my first attempt at a full on cave. And I think I didn't do the worst. So I'm making sure to outline this waterfall with the rocks so that the dinosaurs cannot escape from the enclosure, because that would be really, sad if they could. Uh, Here I put in a custom little little shelter area that the employees would herd the Deinonychus into in case they needed to like you know go and restock some stuff, refuel, re-add some goats and meat to the enclosures. It's like a temporary holding pen. Now, I didn't design the inside. I thought, I'll just do the I'll just decorate the outside, and that's pretty much it. and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It looks, pretty in line. It doesn't like stick out too much. I add some, a garage door and one of those cheaper doors. I feel like that works better with what I'm building. Then I need to throw in some like pillars as support because uh those that overhang area I don't want it to feel like flimsy, so you got to throw in some beams. And then I add those giant floodlights because they help give it like a look that it's an actual like employee area that's high security. Then I added some decals to add some texture to the outside wall, make it look a lot nicer than it would if I didn't. Then I put these like signs out here to make it look dangerous and stuff. The danger signs, which had to look around for. Um, then obviously I have to place some vines. I love the vines they have in this game. They're really useful, and they add a lot of character to it. Then I tried to see if I could add an ATV thing there just by itself, but you cannot just add an ATV. You need it to be connected to like a building thing, like a ATV station. Next, I'm getting all the rocks to slightly clip in there, so it's a full wall and there's no like breaks to the outside world. Then I have to make a cave a little taller, and I wanted to make sure all the collision was on, because I've had multiple occasions where for some reason the rocks didn't have collision and the dinosaurs just walked out the enclosure, which I do not want because that is frankly really annoying. Now I'm building up the cave a little taller, and I added a little dirt path area to the guest area, but I basically scrapped that immediately. Not really immediately in this, but after that, I just turned that into the path to the rest of the park that's coming later because I have recorded the second episode in here. So I'm finishing up decorating the wall, and I'm adding some of the tropical rocks, some texturing. You know, gotta add some in the backdrops. It's looking a lot nicer. Now I'm adding more rocks because rock work is makes the dream work, and I'm setting up this like rudimentary stream area which will be used for the next enclosure, which is a mixed herbivore enclosure, which I do change it up a little, but I do keep the general thing of like a stream and a waterfall. Now you have the Deinonychus is releasing, and the video is a little laggy for me. I'm not sure if it is for you guys as well. If it is, I kind of apologize for the lag. Then now I'm adding in some feeders for our dinosaurs to be fed. And I'm now adding some bushes around to, cover up some of the edges. I don't do a lot of foliage work right here because kind of kind of forgot, but then the Planet Zoo player in me came to me off camera, and then I just started placing foliage everywhere and made the enclosure a lot nicer than it originally was because it was really barren and snowy, which I guess I want it to be snowy, but barren part was made it look a lot sadder and didn't really look in line with what I can do. So I do think the enclosure looks a lot better after like in like the live tour, but the enclosure is still like really nice. I do really like it. Now my dinosaurs are like socializing and stuff, and got to cover up the roof of that building so doesn't do any, so like light doesn't spew into the cave because I do like the cave being decently dark. Now I gotta say, I'm the cave itself is pretty like barren, but it's not the worst thing. I mean, there wasn't really a lot I could really do with the cave because like it's just a normal cave, so couldn't really do much. But I had this little like back area that's a little hideaway in case like any of the Deinonychuses want to like hide away from the others where the hatchery used to be. Um, Now the cave it does look a little cramped from like the outside, but the Deinonychuses can pretty smoothly get in and out. I do have this area in like the center because I do think the cave would need like a decent amount of support. And then I make this like copy and pastable like wall area, which this was before I knew at the keybind for scaling. So I probably would have made this a lot faster if I knew about it. But in case you guys didn't know, there's a scaling keybind, kind of like in Prehistoric Kingdom. Just have to press the B key. Also, you guys should subscribe, comment down below if you guys think I should, you know, um, play Prehistoric Kingdom or Planet Zoo or any of those other games. If you want me to play them, tell me down below. Now, I do want to say that I'm so glad Deinonychus got that redesign, but you know what else really deserves that redesign? My subscriber count. It should be redesigned from 60 to 100, so make sure you help that redesign happen by subscribing down below. I should probably say it, but like, thank you all so much for getting me to 60 subscribers. I just never thought I'd reach that milestone. I'm really happy, and I'm excited to see where this channel goes next. What builds we build, what games we play. You know, I do have some other videos that aren't Jurassic Evolution 3 related planned in the future. If you guys watch my Jurassic Evolution 3 like breakdown videos, you notice that in the start of basically every video I put like a little skit in there. So I'm thinking of just making some, voiceover skits in general for some shows that I think would be really fun. I have one planned for a show I've been recently watching. I'm not going to say much. Uh, and obviously, there's going to be like more Jurassic Evolution 3 videos. Like, I'm definitely going to try to upload more. I know I haven't really uploaded since the game's release, and it's, been almost 2 weeks since my last upload. But I was just spending some time playing the campaign, getting used to the controls. I streamed the day it was released, and anyone who tuned into that stream, thank you very much. Um, Now Sandbox is really fun. Now there are like a few complaints I can levy that there aren't really enough like you know I guess I would say custom fence making parts, like the mesh stuff from like Planet Zoo and those conservation wood pieces are genuinely some of the greatest pieces ever, and I'm kind of sad they didn't make it into the game, and I hope they get added first in the future. Now I know there technically is like chain link fences, but they're not really the same as like those mesh pieces because you're able to like easily use those for whatever fences you want. Also, there needs to be more like see-through glass options. I don't feel like there's enough of them. Now, over here, I'm adding a bit of foliage, the sides to, spruce it up a little. Then I wanted to go to the viewing gallery and check how the enclosure looked, all in all, from the viewing gallery. And oh gosh, I'm experiencing so much lag when, I'm doing the voiceover. I'm not sure if that's like a video thing or is it just because, like a recording thing. But if it is in the video, I am really sorry about the lag. Um, then I'm making this a bit of like a temporary custom nest, which really wasn't necessary because I deleted it basically immediately. Now I just added this like little waterfalls at the entrance area because I'm a bit of a waterfallaholic. I love using the waterfalls so much. They just make beautiful parks so easy to make. Uh, I basically just chalk in waterfalls whenever it's possible, because like I've been wanting waterfalls for so long, and now that we have them, I'm just gonna use them whenever I want because they're there. And then we have some baby Deinonychuses. Hello, everybody. I'm back with a live tour of this part of the park. This is Winterland. As you can see, I did some decorating. I made it look all pretty and stuff. And as right here is the Cabot Junior Memorial Hotel. I just realized that thing is a little uneven, but hey, you win some, you lose some. You got these benches as I guess you're using. A little bit of, a rest area if you wanted to rest. This beautiful waterfall backdrop, and as you walk through here, you can see the back park area where people can go sit and rest. Frolic a little. There's a lot of tables and chairs. Now, this path, it's a little empty, but I didn't want to take away from this park area. And here is area for future expansion. Then I'm just going to speed up a little. Yeah, as you can see, you can get a good look at the rock formation surrounding it. finally you make it here, and you can see the nice sign for Deinonychus. And you go right here, past the path. You'll end up at this viewing gallery, which once you enter, you get a good look at all the dinosaurs. I'll just do a little quick flyover so you guys can see. I added a bunch of foliage, and I turned off collision because I didn't want to obstruct their area, and I also had some of these custom pebbles I made, which are actually on the Frontier Workshop in case you want to use them. I have all these. Now all these guys are chilling around. These Deinonychuses. And let me check with... And actually, Deinonychus is one of the few dinosaurs that requires both a mother and a father. Some dinosaurs only want their mothers, and some dinosaurs only want their fathers, which is a fun feature. Then here we have the cave. Now, I didn't do a lot of work on the cave because, you're never... most people aren't actually going to go into the cave, so I wasn't really worried on, how the cave area looked. But I like this little, area. They get their Deinonychus into the shelter in case, like, the, people need to go in. And this is where the goats come from. So it kind of looks like these goats are just popping out of nowhere. Like they pop out of this cave. Which I think works really well. And none of the goats really come out here, which I really think is good because this makes it so it's focused on the Deinonychuses. But I do think some goats do come out here. But I really am happy with how this enclosure turned out. I like this, raised area in the center. It's a very good, point of interest. So, I think that's pretty much it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.